Edition of Real Numbers Practice Set. Pause the video to work these problems, then come back to check your work. Let's take a look at these first 5 problems. Now, if you look at the first 4, when I wrote these problems, these are the kinds of things where there's obviously something in mind when I wrote those. So we'll start with the first one. Now, the first one you hopefully can do without needing to engage a whole lot of algebra skills, but 3 plus 7 is 10. And what I do want to take the time to do here is look at that model. So we're starting at the 3. Okay, and then we're going to move 7 to the right. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then we need to find out where does that land us. So 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, and I want to emphasize that because sign errors, as I mentioned before, are perhaps the most common mistakes that are made in all of math. So we really, really want to have that mental model of what we're doing when we're adding real numbers, because when we get into the muck of lots of positives, lots of negatives, and we're not just adding, but we're also subtracting and multiplying and dividing with those sign numbers, that it is intuitive, and that intuition is going to come through that practice and that constant visualization. So for this next one, we have -3 plus 7. So once again, like modeling that, we'll plunk the -3 down. And then once again, we're going to go 7 units to the right. That's what it means to add. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, and where does that put us? -2, -1, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Next problem is 3 plus -7, right? So here we go. So 3, and this time I'm adding a negative, so I'm going to be kicking it over to the left, so I'll put the 3 over here. And this time we're going to do 7 in the left direction. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Where will that put us? So 3, 2, 1, 0, -1, -2, -3, -4. And last but not least, we have -3 plus -7. So again, because we're going to be adding a negative, I'm going to plunk that -3 over to the right-hand side so that I have room to move to the left. So we're doing that -7. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Where does that put me? And we're using that number line. Now, you certainly do not need to do all of this work, but it puts me at the -10. Now, if you look at that, I just wanted you to note that we've got like the 3 and the 4 in play. And basically there's 4 different numbers, but sort of 2 different numbers that we can get out. So if we have a 3 and a 7, we can get a 4 from that, and we can get a 10. And it might be a +4 or a -4, or it might be a +10 and -10. Now, I want to draw your attention to that because much, much later on when we get to factoring quadratics, you're going to need to play around with pairs of numbers and really have an idea of what numbers can I get from this pair. And I do that all the time in my algebra classes where I'll say, well, I've got a 2 and a 6, and so I can get like 8s and 4s out of a 2 and a 6. And that's what I'm doing in my head because I've done it so long and so often. So we really want to let that soak in. The last problem on this slide is just a longer problem. Okay, and we can also model this on a number line. So let's take a look and do this. So let's put the -4 here. So we're going to do -4 plus 6. So I'm going to move 6 to the right. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So let's see where that puts us. That puts us at the 2. And then from the 2, we're going to add 3. So 1, 2, 3. And that's going to put us at 5. And then from the 5, we're going to add -2, which means we're going to move back 2, which is going to put us at the 3. Okay, And again, notice how we did that. So we had -4, then we moved to the right 6, then we moved to the right 3 more, and then we moved back -2. So you can do that on the number line as well, and you just kind of like trace how many steps that you're taking. There are other ways to do that, but pretty much, somebody told me once, we really only add like 2 numbers at a time ever. And when we do add more than 2 numbers at a time, and it looks like we're doing it really fast, really what we're doing, we're still adding 2 numbers at a time and then adding the next one in. Same is true with multiplication. So there we go. So again, and take the time to do that model. I know it's a little bit tedious and probably feels unnecessary, but it will pay off. For the simplification, this is an interesting one because we are going to use some properties here. So what I'm going to do right here is I'm going to use the commutative property, which says that I can switch the order. And what that allows me to do is to group these similar things together. So I have 2 plus 4, and guys, so we have 2, and we're gonna go 1, 2, 3, 4. And you already knew that that was going to put me at a 6, so that's awesome. And then we can do the same thing with the x's. I have 3x, and I'm going to move to the left 5x. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we look at where does that put us? And it puts us at -2x. Now, if your answer looked like this, -2x plus 6, that is also completely fine because of that commutative property. So you can switch the order around anytime you want, whatever is going to work best for you. And last one, you play 2 rounds of mini golf. In the first round, you were 6 over par. In the second round, you were 2 under par. How did you do overall for the 2 games? So this is kind of an interesting application of the sign numbers where it doesn't involve that a little bit about mini golf, but or golf in general. But when you go and play golf, or when you're doing a round of mini golf, they'll tell you what the par is, and that is the expected number of strokes that it's going to take for you to sink the hole. So you might have gotten tripped up on this problem if you weren't sure what the context was. So the first game, you're 6 over the par. So we kind of think of the par as being the 0, okay? And we are 6 over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But the second round, I'm 2 under par. And so this is like looking at a +6 and a -2. And we want to know, what are we doing overall? I have no idea why I did that number line vertically. But it works vertically. So you have 6, and then you kind of recoup a little bit. So we go 6, and then we back up 2, which lands us at the 4. And we should specify that we are 4 over par overall. So pretty much the first game got you 6 over par, and the second game dug a little bit into that. So now you're only 4 over par overall, but if the person you were playing with was 2 over par, then you still lost. Okay, so hopefully that helped, and I'm going to say what I usually say. Please like the video, please subscribe to the channel, and please comment and let me know if you found this video helpful, or if there are specific videos that you would like to see topics on, and I will do my best to create videos and lessons for the things that you need.